Okay.
So two things that you have available in Acumatica in terms of at the sales order screen. First of all is the shipping terms, and that will calculate the freight price. But instead of using the freight price calculated by the system, since everything will be imported, if you have such price that you want to input into Acumatica at the sales order level, then I suggest to use the premium freight price that you can play with without any problem. So this is the first thing. The second thing that about the freight logic is the ship via code here, and as you can see, I'm using it. It contains the carrier as well as the service that you are using. So, for example, FedEx overnight, FedEx 2 days, FedEx ground, FedEx international, local, and so on and so forth. So you have multiple services. Behind the scene, these services, if I go there, should be a codes. When you have FedEx, for example, it's tied. Oh, it's a modern UI. But anyway, when it's you have the ship via code here, FedEx. Since it's an external plugin, then you have the carrier that is there that is linked to that service here. But if you select, for example, local, then since you don't have the external, then you don't have the carrier. So the way that I'm envisioning it is to all use the ship vias, and you still can create FedEx ground, FedEx international, FedEx, and so on and so forth. You can still create the different services without linking them to a carrier, and therefore you will.
So they're like they behave like a local. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So nothing will be calculated. No tracking number will be.
So generated. You might have local FedEx, local UPS, local.
No, well, you can still name them FedEx ground, FedEx international, FedEx. But my point is that it will be like this.
I see. Got it.
It will not be external plugin, so it will not refer to the carrier. And therefore, you will be able to use it in Acumatica, and it will do nothing, basically.
And so instead of using a UDF, we could do this setup. Is that correct?
Right. Correct. The only thing that is the limitation that you have with this is if the customer uses their own FedEx account or UPS account.
Yeah.
Because then, at the customer record, you have the account number per carrier, and since so if I go here, shipping. So here, see, you have the carrier.
Yeah.
And you have the carrier account number, location, but then you won't be able to select carrier because you won't have any.
Got it.
Or you can create,
Could you create in this table? Because in this case, the retail metadata will have who this carrier is. That's the SCAC code. I think standard something or something carrier code. Then it has the delivery service, which they call the carrier. It's a little bit confusing. So you get those two data fields, right? Who's going to ship it, and what delivery service is going to be involved. So,
well, you can still create the carriers just to populate but you don't do anything, right? You don't link these carriers that you will be creating with the service method, so then you don't have to configure them, and it will do nothing. It's just to appear the corresponding.
And how would you do the service method? Then you would put that in a user-defined field?
No, the service method is the ship via code.
Okay. So we would do this for that, and then we would use the ship via code, and that would be, and therefore we would not have to, it's not a big deal to create a user-defined field. I just was wondering why our thinking was to avoid them, right? And I'm saying, well, why would we avoid them? Because it makes it more complex.
Well, not only that, but you're right saying that it may confuse people because you'll have service ship via at one place that is that is the service method, and you have the user-defined field with the same information. So then people will get. So
that's what
I
I'm
suggest to create
about.
all the ship via codes, the services,
yep.
and then you uncheck that so it will not be linked with the carrier, and you create the carriers, but then you don't link both together.
C'est bon. Thank you. Let me turn the recording off.